Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Susie and today I'm going to share a little bit with you about something that is really personal and feels really vulnerable, but it's been a really important part of my life and I am excited to talk about this for the first time. So my journey into self-acceptance and self-love has had its ups and downs, and one of the biggest teachers in my life has been a condition that I've been healing since I was very young. When I was 8 years old, I was diagnosed with alopecia areata, which is basically unexplained hair loss. So I don't really remember, but I do know that when I was like 8, I had a bald spot, just like a teeny tiny little one. I think my mom caught it and she was like, oh, we should go to the dermatologist. And the dermatologist basically told us at that point, like, unexplained hair loss, we don't know the cause, we don't know the cure. There was nothing that they could do about it, although we continued to look for answers. So over the years, I went to countless doctors, Western doctors and holistic doctors. I remember going to see an energy healer when I was really young, and they told me and my mom that I had light shooting out of my head and that was the cause of my alopecia. I also got cortisone injections in my scalp for years, like 18 years. I would go every single month to the dermatologist and have probably hundreds of injections in my scalp because my alopecia would go through phases where it would get better and it would get worse. So there were times where I would just have like a teeny tiny little bald spot and no one would know. And there were times when I would have a lot and it would feel like everyone could see, and I was super self-conscious about it. For a lot of my life, like, I was super insecure about this. I was always on my mind. I was always wondering, like, if you could tell, if you could see, if people were judging me, if you were noticing what my hair looked like. Even though you actually couldn't tell at all. It was something that was all in my head. And so this was like my biggest insecurity. I was suffering on the inside about it, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, I remember my mom, she would ask me, she'd be like, oh, how's your hair doing? And I'd be like, I don't talk about it, I don't want to talk about it, because I felt shame. And as a woman, and especially as a young woman, you know, during my adolescence, growing up and really looking at the people around me and wanting to fit in, wanting to feel a part of, I felt really uncomfortable, I felt really insecure, I felt like, you know, it was just always on my mind. And I would be outside and I would like feel the wind blow, and I would worry that, you know, my bald spot was showing. And I would go into the bathroom at parties or events and ask my friends, like, can you see? And I would try to look in the mirror, and it just, I became a prisoner to it, to be honest. For a really long time, I let my alopecia rule me. And then in my 20s, it actually started to get really bad. And right after I graduated from college, I was in culinary school, and that was the first time when I thought that I needed to start wearing a wig. So I really resisted it, and I actually bought a wig. I spent quite a bit of money having this beautiful wig custom made, but I didn't want to wear it. I really just, I couldn't accept it. So I would wear my hair in a ponytail, use a ton of hairspray, try to cover these spots, rather than wearing a wig, which I had. For whatever reason, then it grew back. So I didn't end up needing the wig anyways. It was sort of like, okay, I have this, I accept it, I bought the wig, and then my hair grew back. Things went back to normal, a spot here, a spot there. I would go to the doctor and I would get cortisone injections and it would grow back. It was like this cycle of almost like whack-a-mole, you know? It would be like, boom, shots there, grow back, but over here it was falling out. And I didn't know what was causing it. Literally, like, I couldn't figure out, you know, I couldn't place my finger on, you know, why it would fall out, because the cycle of a hair follicle is that once the hair follicle dies, it takes 3 months for it to fall out. So I could look back and say 3 months ago what was happening, but at that point I also was very much in the throes of alcoholism and addiction, which was pretty much fueled by my insecurity that I was feeling. You know, I really felt uncomfortable in my own skin, so I would turn to drinking to feel better when I was out in public. So in 2015, I went to rehab, and that was the lowest and most stressful point in my life. That was where my drinking and using had hit an all-time low, and at the end, I was suicidal. My body had sustained so much trauma from all of the partying, all of the just physical abuse I was putting myself through. I wasn't eating well, I wasn't exercising, I was taking a ton of prescription medications, my body was at its wit's end. So I went to rehab and I stopped drinking and I stopped taking Klonopin and Adderall. And I started making positive changes in my life at that point. I came home from rehab and I started eating healthier, and little by little I was incorporating these tools into my life: meditation, yoga, sobriety. But 3 months after getting home from rehab, surprise, surprise, almost all my hair fell out. I started wearing a wig to cover it up because I was terrified that people would be able to tell and that people would judge me for having bald spots or for not looking healthy or for not looking beautiful. And until now, I've been wearing a wig on and off as my hair got better and worse, but I'm ready to stop hiding. I'm ready to be my most authentic self and show that to the world. I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to hide anymore. So this is me. I have some hair left, not that much, but yeah, it's been my greatest teacher to have this condition, to have alopecia, because what it's allowed me to do is ask myself who I really am and how I show up in the world and how I want to show up in the world. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. I don't need to figure that out. I just need to be who I am. And it feels scary sometimes to be vulnerable and to let people see me. And I think part of the reason why my hair falls out is because I want to control things. I really want things to be exactly the way that I want them to be, and there's a lot going on in my head, you know? But the lesson that I've learned through this journey is to just let go and to just let myself be and to love myself and accept myself for who I am and however I am, no matter what that looks like. So it's been a real journey, and there was a lot of shame that I got to look at and heal because I thought I needed to look a certain way in order to be lovable, but that's not true. And I've done things over the years, like write letters to my alopecia and start to befriend it and to say, hey, I see you. Let's not fight against each other anymore. I don't want to attack you. You don't need to attack me. Clearly you're here as my teacher. And the truth is, this condition has been the greatest teacher that I've ever had. It's led me to every good thing in my life. It's led me to become a healer, to build all the tools and the resources that I have today that I get to share with the world now. You know, every healer I've ever gone to pretty much has been to try to get to the bottom of this. But ultimately, my takeaway is that there is nothing to figure out. The answer is love. The answer is self-love and self-acceptance. And trusting that for whatever reason I have this condition, it's a gift, it's a blessing, because it gives me the opportunity to learn how to be vulnerable, to learn how to be real, to learn how to share my most authentic self with the world. And by doing that, I hope that you, wherever you are watching this, know that you can do the same. All you need to do is be you, and that's enough. That's enough, and that's what's most beautiful. It doesn't matter if you have long hair, short hair, black hair, brown hair, blonde hair, or no hair. Yeah, it's all about just being yourself and accepting yourself for how you are. And that's the journey that I'm on. It truly is a journey. One day, 1 minute, one breath at a time. And here I am today, and thank you so much for watching this.